So hello everybody, welcome back to another live video. This is Blessedom. My name is Blessing, and those of you who follow me, you know me already. For those of you who are joining us newly, I welcome you to this live video. And in this place we talk about important things, and we don't insult people, we don't attack people for their political opinion. We don't attack people, we don't insult people because of their ethnicity or their religion. We want to appreciate everybody because everybody is a product that God created, and God created everything, and God said everything is good. And so we see everybody as good, as important, as part of what we are doing. There are no people that are a waste product and some that are useful. No, everybody that God created have his own purpose and his own use. And we don't look down on anybody because of where they are coming from, or because of where they are going, or because of who they are, or where they have arrived. No, everyone is valued here. So if you want to belong here, resist the urge to attack anybody and start insulting people or calling names, or calling ethnic people as and thinking that it's an insult. No, we don't accept that here. So I welcome every one of you once again. Yesterday we were talking about the election in Osun, and talking about how the election is going and all the surprises that was coming out of it. And finally today the result is out, and we have to, some people don't like to agree with this, but you have to think about it. Like, there's a lot of insecurity in the country. You take it back to the presidency and say he failed here because there's still insecurity in the country. And so when there's something successful, you take it back also to the presidency. There is no explaining around it and saying, oh, because of INEC, oh, because no. You take it back to the source, to the to the enablement of the person that sits on the administration, that is enabling the environment for that kind of poll to take place. Just like in Igbo they say eto dike na komen or me ozo. Like, you have to at least appreciate the person for the one you are seeing. And when there's appreciation and people feel happy, and the person feel that vibration that this is actually impacting the people, he's not going to let down, he's not going to let his grip, he's going to keep at it. So it is important we give the credit to the presidency and the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, that have enabled this situation we are witnessing today, that an incumbent is defeated in his own state. I think it is worthy, I think it is worthy of giving him that accolade and say, yeah, Mr. Presidency, kudos, more grace to you. And in this section, we need more vibrant development so that people's choice will begin to count. And when politicians see that they are not just going to do anyhow, and they are going to get back to the office anyway, you understand? So when they begin to see that what they are doing will matter in the outcome of the election, I believe there is a lot of change that will come from there. Good evening, Kanayo, but I greet you. Yeah. So back to the topic of today. Like I said, so many people suggested everything, and I decided to start with the first comment on that thread where I said you guys should suggest what we'll talk about. And I want to start with what we can do. How can Nigeria become better? What are the fundamental steps, the fundamental thing that must happen for change to happen in Nigeria? So I was yesterday we were talking about it, and I thought about it, like, this is actually the conversation we're supposed to be having now, at a time like this, when we are preparing for polls, for a major poll in the country where power is going to change hands in almost all the states. And everybody is not happy. There's a lot of suffering. People are complaining, and there's nothing getting to the population. What can we do? What can be done? So I feel like we're supposed to be having this kind of conversation, and we want to see such things that we are having the conversations about how the country can be good, how the goodness of the country can get to the lowest, and the the people who are the weakest in this society. And we want to see it manifested in their own manifesto. The parties that are presenting candidates, we want to see this as part of the things that they are going to say. We want to come into office to implement this. And this is how we want to go about it. And it has to be convincing and possible. Because as we are looking at it, if this is a litmus test, if this is pointing to how the elections is going to go, then we need to know that, okay, whoever is going to get our vote, especially those people who will be getting votes as House of Rep members, as senators, as governors, we have to see what are they bringing to the table. What do they want to bring? How do they, if they say, oh, we'll build road, we have heard, it's not about road. What else can be done? So we want to have this kind of conversation so that they will know where to start, and the people too will know where to look to say this person is helping or is doing something, or this person is not doing anything. You understand me? Thank you, Mohammed. I thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so we have started now. Anyway, so first off, like I always say, the most important thing that needs to happen in Nigeria is the overhauling of the judiciary. The judiciary is the main thing that needs to happen. And corruption, like we were talking about it, it's like when you are talking about like there's a balance, when you want to weigh something, before, so they will put the thing here, put a weight here, for example, put a weight here, and so if it's not balanced, it will go like this. So when you achieve an equilibrium, and so you will know that it is on a balanced scale. You understand me? So we need rule of law, and rooting out of corruption. They go hand to hand, So first off, the law and how to go about that law, what is going to be done to put the legal facilities, the legal structures in place. It needs an overhaul. The people who are justices, they are not doing anything. Sorry, they are not doing the country any good. They are not judging the case. They prolong the case, and you know how it is said, justice delayed is justice denied. You will be going through something, you will be doing adjournment, and somebody will be awaiting trial for 17 years. Somebody will be awaiting trial, like the trial have not started, and the person is being held up for years. And then you have to think, what if the person was actually sentenced? How long is he supposed to stay in jail? You see, like we see in the US, many people who have been sentenced wrongly, there they were sentenced 12 years, and then somehow they retry, the thing goes to retry because of course the person is saying all the time I'm innocent, and then they are acquitted, and then you are thinking about the years lost for what they have not done. There are people who are on their way and about their day, and they have been taken like that, and they are awaiting trial for years. We're not talking about 10 years. This is a travesty, and when you have rule of law, what comes there is human rights, because rule of law will bring human rights, because that rule of law will implement human rights. And this is what is lacking in Nigeria. Everybody is exploiting the other person. All the people in power, they are exploiting the country, their state, plundering their resources because there is corruption. So it's only the rule of law that will take it like this and set it straight on the balance. So root out the corrupt people and end the injustice that comes through corruption and assuage the human rights violations in the country. So when people know that they cannot just do anybody harm because they are of any other ethnicity, because they are of any other religion, it's a crime. And how are you going to do that? Because you have rule of law, it becomes a crime to do tribalism. Just like racism is a crime. If you can prove somebody is racist to you on the basis of your race, if you can prove it and there's somebody to testify that yes, it's racism, it's a crime, it's a hate crime. So anybody that is doing any form of tribalism, that is denying somebody of a job, that is denying somebody of a treatment, of anything that is due to them on the basis of their tribe, then it is a hate crime because it is based on crime. So all these things are hanging on the law. So if Nigeria doesn't get the law right, Nigeria is not going anywhere. So we want to see candidates that wants to tell us what do they want to do about the legal system of Nigeria, about the justice system. It is wrong, it is corrupt, it is fraudulent, it is a cake, it is in of itself abuses the rights of the humans that they are supposed to give justice to. Somebody is sentenced today, tomorrow another judge will acquit the person. Where is the justice? You see? And because the law is not in order, people are being extremely corrupt. How can somebody plunder billions just like that? And then they will take the person to court, and the judge will now give bail here and give bail here, and and then they will now be doing the case, and then you will not hear it in the media again, and then they will not settle. Then everything will die down, and that will be it. Why? Because the legal system is not standing. The rule of law needs to get ahead. So when the rule of law is standing, and there is corruption. There's no corruption. Corruption is under control because the law is working. And that is where you will not see the possibility to give education. Then when you allocate money for education, the money we get into the schools will be built, the hospitals will be funded. You understand? Then the system will start to think of what it can give to the people, which is education, food, shelter. We have to see who is talking about these things. Who is talking about healthcare? Nigeria needs a healthcare system that works. If you see many Nigerian people that are doctors and nurses, they are going out of Nigeria to go and work elsewhere. It's because Nigeria doesn't have a healthcare system to absorb them. So if Nigeria have a healthcare system, then we will notice that we don't even have enough. So it is appalling that they are not taking the healthcare system to have a network of healthcare system in place. For example, to have an ambulance, have a working number that people will call, and there will be people on duty that will arrive at the scene and take care of that situation. And you have fire service stations that are working in emergency. They will call them, and that you will have school systems that are working, that children are safe in the schools, and that the teachers are paid their dues, that the health workers are paid accordingly, according to their qualification and the years that they have spent. You see? So, but if you don't take the rule of law and corruption out of the if you don't balance it, it's not possible to achieve the main things that people need. And there must be introduction of welfare. There must be. In this next, it cannot continue like this. Nigeria is the only country where there is no form of welfare to the citizens. It is unheard for. And when there is no welfare, no giving out of any form of support, regardless of your situation, the people becomes extremely desperate, especially as things are getting harder. People becomes extremely extremely desperate. They want to do anything. They want to go, they want to engage in anything, because you don't know where your next meal will come, because everywhere is every man for himself. So if they can start talking about welfare, how can you give welfare? Now they have the database. You now have NIN, for example. So on monthly basis, the people who don't have any means of getting food, the young mothers who are widows, who cannot cater for those children, you don't demand for them to pay school fees. There has to be a scheme in place so that the government will take that into consideration. And like Henry Chimeze was saying yesterday, that children are being made to pay WAEC fee. That shouldn't even be an issue, because as a school, as a school system, you are training your children to go to school. At the end of the year, you will make exam, of course, because they have been going to the same school. Why should that be another extra exam fee so that they will not pay for the exam? That is the responsibility of the education system, to make sure that the children that go to school come back with their certification. You understand? So if you are looking for who is going to deliver, these are the things that needs to change. These are the things that needs to be looked into, and you have to have a form of housing scheme. It is not okay that all the housing that is available is private people that build it. So what does government do? Have party, go to Dubai, have a girlfriend, buy car for their girlfriend? What kind of thing is that? You don't have government built housing estate. Every administration is supposed to have housing estate in every major city in that government. From government level, from federal government level to state government level, you have to build some housing infrastructure to add to existing one, to ease accommodation burden on the people. It cannot be that everywhere is only private people that are building, and when private people are building, there's no regulation. But if government is building and can put people in government housing, and the price will not be too high, and people can get into government accommodation, then it will regulate the private market, because there's an alternative. But now there's no alternative. So they can just wake up one morning and say, my house rent is now 1 million from nowhere, you see. So basically, this is what I feel, And so when you have all this, and you are educating the children right, you are giving them the right education, teaching them the ethics, the do's and don'ts, what is acceptable in the society and what is not acceptable in the society. So from there, you will be having another generation of individuals that have learned something that they can give back to the society. So today, what have you taught your children? What can they give back to the society? Nothing. So sometimes we are like amazed at the heartlessness, at the brutality. We are looking at what children, younger people are doing, but you know that they are not in isolation. They learned it from somewhere, So this is my own, that I feel that we have to start from there. So I will open the floor now. Who wants to contribute? You can add your own opinion. Please, let's make it brief so we can have enough people to contribute. And we hope that you want to go to office, you want to go and be a governor, you want to be a local government chairman, come and listen and hear what needs to be done. We don't want to hear about road again. Road is not food. Road cannot put food on the table. It's part of it. You will be building road, but you must put these other things into consideration, and they will be running concurrently. They are not parallel lines. There are things that should be running concurrently. You are building road, and there is welfare for people to have some food. There is a housing scheme that you are also initiated so that people can have easy accommodation, and there is healthcare that is also running. People can go to health and hospital if they are sick. There is insurance scheme run by the government. This is only how government can be good. So you have all these institutions, you put it down. Any government that come will continue on that basis. Not that this government come, that all the whole thing will collapse. No, it becomes systemic, and it must be upheld. Every government that comes in runs on that. This is how, there is no other magic. But how is it going to be possible to rein in the judiciary system, which is the bedrock of everything that we want to achieve? The truth is, Nigerian laws are only meant to the poor, who cannot have rich people or those in power to support them. The rich and influential people are above these laws. No example for difference. Your level of riches or influence determine the level you can comply with Nigerian law. That's what I'm saying, that Nigeria cannot be good when the law is not working. So how can you, like, now there is expedient need for the judiciary to be cleared, for the judiciary to be like reset, like in tech they'll say factory reset. That's what we need now. The system, we need a turnaround. This system they are using, this kind of code they are using, is not applicable for a society like Nigeria. It's not. So it must change. And who will change it? Like all the judges that have so far not been doing it, they need to retire all of them. Because they are part of the system. There needs to be something drastic to be done about the law, the justice system. Because without that justice system underground as the foundation upon which the country will stand, every other thing you want to do will fall apart. Because who is going to hold them responsible for what they didn't do well? Where are you going to take the matter to? Is the judicial system. So if you look at countries that have done well from being backward, and in this state that like we have, what changed? What happened? Because they took law very serious. You understand? Once you break the law, you collect. That's the only deterrent. You think that people here and all these places, they don't, the main issue is like, even when you have committed a crime, it stays in your records. You have the record for at least 10 years. Some records will be in there for life. For example, if somebody is somebody that go and take small children, the record will be for life. You understand? So it makes people to think very well before they do something, because there are people who are, I don't know how they are created, they cannot align. They're like in a country like Germany, for example, they have like 99% closure of cases. People still find a way to go and do something against the law, even though they know the law will catch them 99% of the time. And the 1% is like a little bit delayed, and then it will be resolved. So personally, I feel like this is the main issue that needs to be done. He said, Madam, how can we have a change in Nigeria without having someone who can build institutions and stand by them? Nigerians kept electing old wine in a new bottle, voting the choices of major political parties only, instead of voting people with good characters nominated by small political parties. We need people like J.J. Rowling and Lee Kuan Yew of blessed memory. Yeah, I agree with you, Sadiq. The thing is, there is no education. So when people lack the right education, they will not know what matters. You understand? So they did it by stealing the education. Normally, you will go to government education, have a primary education. They will be teaching you. You know how to think. You will be stimulated in the right way. But when they are stealing all those education, and education became for the highest bidder. Obasanjo said, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. You see, from there now, people don't know how to reason. So what they are see as the sense that they have is we now, so we they do, and now we now like this it be. So people now have a sheeple mentality, a a mob mentality, head mentality. Like when they say cow, they will be packing them like cow. That's what happened. So everybody, they will just say is this way, they will start going. Oh, nobody would think. They'll say it's this way, yes. So just use small thing, small. They will just feel to me. It's because the education is flawed. So people are not asking questions. So the only way it can also change is by education. So when people begin to have the right kind of education, their mind will begin to change. But the thing is, unfortunately, it's not going to be an automatic something. It's not going to happen overnight the way we are expecting it to happen. It's going to be something gradual, small change over time, small change over time, and then the things will get on board. That JJ Rowling style, I don't know. I don't know. We don't need a man. Mr. Chris, you live in America. How can you say that you need one man in a multi-ethnic, multicultural society? How can you even say that? You don't need one man. It's a collective that will change it. How can you say you need one man? No, you don't need a man. Even to institutionalize the system, you don't need one man. It must be a collection of people that will work in agreement. Because if one man stay there and say he wants it this way and the other people don't want it, he don't stand a chance now. He don't stand a chance. If one man stand there and say I want to do this thing like this, no, then other people will rise up. Except you want to say, okay, you are going to bring a military man, and then he will just come and open tribunal everywhere, and all those kind of hasty things. No. And this is what put us in this situation till today that we are fighting. Something that's supposed to evolve gradually. Somebody wants it hot, 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 hot. Brigando. See where we are now. We are still rigmaroling. So the things must be given the room to evolve. It must be. Even America that we are talking about, America is still evolving. There is still a lot of discrimination going on there. A lot of issue of black and white is still going on in America. And even black Americans are complaining. It looks like things are changing. It's like they are still remaining the same, because it's taking years and years, centuries, years and years and years and years and years, and it's like a lifetime you go through this, and but things are getting better. Children of black people are getting into higher institutions and are able to succeed. It's a gradual process. Why do you say you want one man? Look, what magic is that man going to perform? There's no one man that will come and Nigeria will become a paradise. It's going to be a collective. And yeah, some people were also saying we should analyze the Osun election. For example, what we want to analyze there, the analysis there is that there's a system being put in place now. It was a gradual process, and gradually it is possible to collate the results electronically and limit the chances of fraud. But of course, everything is not 100%. There are still complaints here and there, but the election has concluded and the result came out, and then the person that lost, I believe they have accepted their loss in good faith. You see, so we need that kind of gradual change. And if you are looking at what happened in Osun and you want to translate it to what can happen in the general elections, you can see when they're talking about having people on ground, people working, to see that, that election happens. Look at Adeleke, this dancing senator. He contested last year. He contested, and many people don't know that he contested in the last one. In 2019, he contested and he failed. But he didn't leave his party. He stayed in his party and he continued to work on everything that was going on. He continued to strengthen his network there. And I hear when Davido was campaigning for him, Davido was like, last year that we worked out, but we didn't fight them, or we left it, but this time we are collecting it, you know. Like, he made mention like they lost and they didn't fight it, they allowed it. You understand? So it is something that somebody has to work. It's not about the person. For example, if you are saying it's not about one man, it's about the ruling elite, the people in that caucus, that they came up and they agreed. And then they will have people in every section to implement their agreement. You're not going to have people that will be in acrimony to what you want to bring and fighting you. Including in America. The person you are calling Martin Luther King. Before Martin Luther King, there were other people. Martin Luther King was protesting injustice. Before Martin Luther King, other people were there. Rosa Parks was there. They were protesting. Like black Americans had to protest for everything. Even in a country that pride itself on the rule of law, that pride itself that on the constitution that all men are born, equal for liberty, but they didn't see black people as the same men. They see them as 3/5 of a human. They had to change it not too long ago in their constitution. Yeah. So there is, even when they want to change, for example, when they want to say they want to stop people holding other people onto slavery, the other people didn't agree. They went to war. They fought to keep their slaves. So it's a gradual process. I don't understand why our people who live in countries like America will be wishing Nigeria destruction and they are living in America. I don't understand it, honestly. I don't understand it. You are living in a practical example of a society that is constantly evolving. As we are talking, many of our people will be say they are like this. Many of them, from the article I read once, they say the number of them where they inside prison, in many pass the people where no they inside prison. And the kind of sentences they get, small pikin of 14 years, it will do something, life, no chance. The same thing, another person when will be do if you do that thing, they go give am 1 year probation, do like this, So, Chris, don't say, give me an example of any society that move forward because everyone decided to move forward. Everybody will never move, but there will be a collective that will stand. And those collective has to be in a, greetings, Daniel. Those collective has to be in a place of power to be able to initiate that. For example, when they want to integrate black people, before America was segregated, black people stay here, black people have their own school, black people have their own hospital, black people cannot go to white people church, black people cannot go to white people supermarket, cinema, black people have their own entrance, white people when they want to integrate it, the white people refuse, but the government stood still. Because the government wants it. I don't know how you are drawing your examples. Maybe you need to call in to explain how you think one man will just come and fix the whole country of 200 million people. How? How? Except the person is going to be a military dictator that will just, out of fear, everybody will just follow in and do what he wants. Except that's what you are suggesting. But if it's going to be a political movement, then it must be a political agreement between the elite to move in this direction, and they will have to have cooperation of people who want to support it. And they must have the networking on ground for implementation. And once it stands as law, and then you must have people who are there to uplift that law, and it becomes effective. Because if you have a law and there's nobody to uplift it, what are you going to do? You are one person. So, my people, the idea, perish that thought. And that is the thing that is keeping Nigeria down. When Aguiyi came, he made himself supreme ruler. That's where the problem started. This idea that one person, he became a supreme ruler. We see it even with this Sheniyan that Kano did. Supreme ruler, supreme. Where is that gotten him and his followers? You know? Like if you have a strong political leader now, and that political leader, for example, you have a political party, for example, you know, and then it is a political party. For example, if you look at China, you understand, is the ruling party and the members of that ruling party, and they appoint their members on the basis of excellence, on the basis of performance, not because I know you, not because you are my friend, not because I did you a favor, not because anything, on the basis of merit. Among the ruling class, they divide the responsibility and everybody carry it out effectively, you know. But if you as a single person and you are there and corruption is entrenched here, it's the judges, they are not doing what they are supposed to do, and then only you are standing there and say, oh, you people should do like this. They are going to find different ways to stop you before you start. You understand? So the overhaul will have to be, for example, members of a political party who will come out strong with their own state, local government, senators, you know, like everyone from their camp will be in strategic positions to enforce what they have to bring on the table. This is my own understanding. This is my own understanding. So if somebody is saying one person will not come, one person cannot do anything. Even in a family, only the father cannot change everything. That's why most I will say, okay, you need your parents. You need both parents. Single parents household, they struggle. You know? For example, you have a school and the principal wants and the principal wants the school to function well, wants to implement changes, you know. He needs to bring in his teachers who will work with him with the new system. And if there's anyone that is not in agreement, he has to relieve him and bring in people that will work to him to implement the new curriculum. So it's going to be a collective, and that will has to be collective in a country that is big and massive like Nigeria. In a massive country like Nigeria, you know. So anybody that is thinking about one individual, you know, one individual can start, you know, the process can start. You say, okay, you are initiating the process and all those kind of a thing, but you know, it's gonna be an evolution. So at the end of the day, one needs to start is the individual that will become the leader, and the party, they will be ready to implement the change in the judiciary, determined to end corruption, with the new judiciary. And how they're going to do that, I don't know. I'm thinking that the legal code that they are using is not working for Nigeria. They need to change it to the code, the one that they do within a week or a month. I think they call it, I don't know whether it's criminal justice system or something like that. It needs to change to that. That's just what I'm saying. It needs to change so that the people will not anchor all the other changes on the rule of law. And then when you have the rule of law said, if you say, okay, this is how we want to do something, and this is the consequences if you don't do it, and anybody that doesn't follow, then the law is there to hold the person. This is just how I see it. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't get anybody calling in, so from there I'm going to end the program now. So please keep your comments coming, and if there's any comment that stands out tomorrow, we'll continue from there. So for now, I like to say have a good evening and have a good night rest. And if you also disagree with me, you can also write what you disagree about what I'm saying, and how you think it's going to be better. Okay, so yeah, the conversation never ends. Let's keep it going. Don't forget to share the video. And yeah, you can send me stars. You can subscribe to my page. I forgot to say, you can subscribe to my page. I have a goal to have 100 subscribers so that we can have a group and we can do exclusive for the subscribers in the subscriber group. And so if you want to subscribe, click on the subscribe bar sign. Is like a light green with love inside. You click on it and subscribe. You can also send me stars to support me, and I will appreciate every one of you who joined, who contributed. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.